Welcome to the Local Real Estate Show. Join us each week as we hear from local real estate professionals from around the country. We'll hear their stories, get their advice on the current market trends to the best ways to get the most out of your real estate purchases, sales, or investments. Whether you're just getting started and buying your first home or you are a seasoned real estate investor, there's something here for everyone. So buckle up and get ready to hear from the people who know the real estate industry the best. Now your host, Steve Champagne.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Local Real Estate Show. Today, I have Inna Shapiro from Keller Williams, who services the Chapel Hill area of North Carolina. Welcome to the show, Nina.
Hey, Steve. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, so let's get right into it. Why don't you get into a brief description, or a brief introduction, I should say, of yourself?
Sure. My name is Inna Shapiro. I've been a Chapel Hill resident for the last 18 years or so by way of California and Russia before that. I love it. It's an amazing place to live. And I have 2 kids and an ill-mannered dog, and I love living here.
We'll have to talk about that ill-mannered dog.
Yeah.
All right, so again, the whole show is all about real estate. So why did you become a real estate agent?
I've always been interested in homes and in people, and I used to actually be an attorney before this, and that job has a lot of conflict, and people come to you and they're really distressed. This is a great opportunity for me to help people at important times in their life, whether they're new to the area or they're downsizing or they need another home because they're having a baby. And it's just a great time to mentor them and shepherd them through a difficult process. And I get to help them, and I love it.
Okay, that's awesome. How long have you been a real estate agent?
Since 2015.
So roughly 8 years?
About 8 years, yep.
Okay. All right. So for the people listening to us today, people synonymously think realtor, real estate agent are the same. Can you tell me what? Yeah, tell me the difference.
The difference is you have to be a real estate agent first before you can become a realtor. And with a realtor, it's going a little bit above and beyond. You join the National Association of Realtors, and that requires us to take a code of ethics class and stick by those ethics. And we have to take that every couple of years. And it really just gives you that little extra bit of responsibility to really make sure we're doing everything right for our clients and even people who aren't our clients. We have to disclose things on a home, for instance, even if maybe our seller doesn't exactly want us to, but we have to do the right thing all the time.
Okay. Thanks for letting us know what the difference is between a real estate agent and a realtor. Okay, so you're in the Chapel Hill area. So if I was to move to Chapel Hill, why should I move there? Tell me all the good things about Chapel Hill.
You would be so happy living here. This is the quintessential college town. Small, adorable Main Street, beautiful campus with botanical gardens, really excellent restaurants from all over the world. We have quite a global community for a small town. So every kind of food you can imagine. We're very short drive to Durham and everything Durham has to offer, as well as Raleigh's within half an hour. So we have sporting events, theater, concerts, as well as the little small town parades with the kids on their tricycles. It's pretty much the perfect place to live if you can stand the humidity in the summer.
Okay, so that's one of the negatives of living in the South.
It's a little warm. I grew up in California, so for me, it's a little. It can still be a little bit, but it's a fantastic place to live, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Okay, all right. Real estate been a real hot market the last couple of years. What is the real estate market right now like in Chapel Hill? What can someone who's looking to buy into the market expect, and what can a seller expect?
Well, from the seller point of view, the market, we had a steady appreciation in home prices for the last 10 years. And then really with COVID, we doubled the amount. We gained the same amount in equity in 2 years that we had in the last 8 years before that. It was a really rapid increase. And then last summer, when the interest rates went up, things slowed down a little bit, and we lost about 6 months worth of the valuation of those,
Appreciation.
the appreciation of those homes, but now it has come back. So from
Okay.
January through now, we've regained everything that had slipped a little bit.
Mhm.
And right now the inventory is very, very low. And so
Okay.
it's a really good time for sellers. For buyers,
Mm.
it's not quite as crazy as it was this time last year,
Okay.
but it's picking up again. It's not a time to lowball. It's time to be serious.
Okay. So would you say the inventory has a good mix for first-time home buyers, or is it more of a, no, I'm selling my home and I'm upgrading my home? What type of market is that?
Uh, Market here, the homes in Chapel Hill have retained their value over the years. It has
Mhm.
always been a very desirable place to live.
Yeah.
I will say it's not as easy for first-time buyers in this community as it is in some of the surrounding communities.
Okay.
You Yeah, but you can get in it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's great. So I'm going to dive into some questions now around purchasing a home that
Sure.
our listeners may want to know the answers to. So let's get right into it. And this is, do I really need to have a real estate agent to buy my home?
Yeah, why would you not want a real estate agent when you buy a home?
Okay.
You really want a realtor, but the reason why you want to do that is
Mhm.
we've done this before. Now I've done
Mhm.
it about 150 times. So that's probably
Okay.
150 times more than the average buyer, right? Or
Yep.
140 times more. And so what we're looking for is we know what to look for as we go through the home, as far as any damage to the home, age of the equipment,
Mhm.
anything about the location of the home. And as a buyer, 99% of the time, it's free for you to use us as a
Yep.
realtor. We can get into some things of when it isn't, but
Mhm.
it doesn't cost you in most cases to use a buyer's agent, and we can help
Yep.
you through the entire process.
Okay. That's a good answer. Um, from the buyer's perspective, how does the negotiation process work?
Well, it depends on what you are looking for, of course, and the negotiation process itself, the first thing
Mhm.
we try to figure out is, what does the seller need? So
Yep.
they may, of course, they're looking for a high price, but in North Carolina, we also have a due diligence deposit, which is
Mhm.
different than other parts of the country. It works
Mhm.
differently, and it's the two-step deposit process. So here, that's a big part of our process as much as the price. Plus, then we're looking, do they need to get out of the house early? Do they need a rent back? Are we going to say
Mhm.
we won't do repairs unless it's something major? So there are a lot of parts to the process in addition to
Mhm.
what we offer for the price.
Okay. All right. So you negotiated, you settled down on an offer. Now there's this thing called an appraisal.
Sure.
Um, what does that mean for a buyer?
For a buyer, it's really important because a lender is not going to loan you more than they believe the home is worth.
Okay.
So, as part of the process, they're going to go ahead and go to the house, look at the home, look at comparable sales to see if there has been anything similar to that home sold in a similar or that same neighborhood, to make
Mhm.
sure that the home is actually worth what you're paying. And if it isn't, if they believe you've overbid in your exuberance to have the home, or just because of the competitive nature of the market,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
might have to bring some cash to closing. So before
Okay.
we go out and put all that money down, we're going to have a
Mm.
big discussion about, do
Mhm.
you have that money? What are you going to
Yeah.
do? Maybe we
Yeah.
can't bid as high.
Okay. All right. So you've kind of laid the groundwork for the next question is, how much of a down payment do I need? So let's talk
I'm
about
going
down payments.
Let me give you my lawyer answer. It depends. It really depends on who you are and your situation. In
Yeah.
our area, because we have UNC Hospital, Duke Hospital, we have a lot of doctors and doctor
Mhm.
loans. With a
Mhm.
doctor loan, it's actually a 0% down loan.
Okay.
However, if you're not in those circumstances and you have maybe some lower income, you might qualify for an FHA loan, in
Okay.
which case it's only 3% down. And you could do something else. You can do 20% down, but you could do 10% down and then maybe just have mortgage insurance for a little bit until you get the appreciation in the house. So it
Mhm.
really depends on what you need, what your situation is in life, and having a great lender partner is really
Mhm.
important to discuss all of those options.
Okay. I got one more question I want to get to when it comes for a buyer, and there's some confusion sometimes around this, and that is, what is the difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval for a mortgage?
Sure. A pre-qual is basically self-reported, right? So if you went
Mhm.
online or you have your initial conversation with a lender and you tell them, I make so much a year, I have so much debt, and they spit out a number, but it's
Mhm.
self-reported and it isn't verified, right? So you
Okay.
might be, so if you're self-employed, if there's child support, if there's alimony, if
Mhm.
you've had some sort of gap in your employment,
Mhm.
or you forgot you took a month off for sick leave that you didn't get paid for, it's
Yeah.
really important to have all of this stuff verified. So
Mhm.
the approval means the lender has seen your paperwork, it's gone through underwriting, they've seen check stubs. You're really pre-approved at that point, and it's much more solid. So when we
Okay.
make offers, that's what we'd like to have if possible.
So it's almost as good as cash.
Sometimes cash
Okay.
doesn't worry about an appraisal. With a pre-approval, you're still worried about an appraisal.
Okay.
But it's good. It's good, and having it from a good lender really matters. We have lenders
Okay.
that close on time that are wonderful,
Mhm.
and so it can be great. Yeah.
Okay. Well, though that wraps up the series of questions I had for buyers. Let's jump into some seller questions. And the first one is, I'm assuming, sellers are wondering, how do you come up with the current market value of their home?
So what we do is called a comparative market analysis, which means we
Okay.
are looking at homes similar to that home on a similar sort of lot in the same neighborhood. We look
Mhm.
for upgrades in either your home or those homes, and then we compare them. We say,
Yeah.
well, that home sold for, let's say, 600,000 and
Mhm.
it had updated kitchens and baths. Yours doesn't, but it's got the same floor plan. We would
Mhm.
position your home and price it a little bit lower than the home with the upgrades, right? So if both of
Okay.
them were on the market at the same time, buyers would still want to buy yours.
Okay. That's good. I'm sure sellers have this question: should I make repairs or upgrades before I list my home?
So that is my specialty, and I am
Okay.
happy to tell people what upgrades are worth it and which ones are not.
Okay.
Generally, paint, light fixtures, replacing carpet if it's worn, those are
Yep.
really easy upgrades where you're going to get your money back. Something
Mhm.
else like replacing ductwork
Mhm.
might really improve the air quality in
Yeah.
the home, but it's not something that a buyer generally falls in love with unless they
Yep.
have severe allergies. So it's always a conversation with each
Yep.
homeowner, their timing, their budget, their needs about
Mhm.
what should we do, what could we do, what is their home worth today versus
Mhm.
what it could be worth if we did some light upgrades versus a total renovation.
Okay.
Generally, most homeowners do a little bit, and then we stage the heck out of it and make it look great.
Great. Okay. And I take it you're a staging
I do have a full
person?
staging business as well as the real
Okay.
estate business, and that's a value
Okay.
add I give to my clients. Yeah.
So value add, that's awesome. That's really
Yeah,
cool. All
absolutely.
right. So when is the best time of the year to sell your house?
When you need to sell your house.
Okay.
In yeah, in our area, because we do not have a lot of snowfall or anything that
Mhm.
really closes it down. We're not a
Mhm.
seasonal market like Arizona
Yeah.
and Florida. We're great all year round. And
Mhm.
so there are different aspects to selling at different times of the year. So in the
Mhm.
spring, there are lots of buyers looking because they want to get their
Mhm.
kids in school before the summer's over, but more
Mhm.
people put their home on the market, so you have more competition. So
Yep.
maybe there won't be as many homes for sale in the winter, and if someone really needs a home and yours
Mhm.
is one of the very few options, that may be the best time for you. So it
Okay.
really just depends. Yeah,
All right. So hot market. It's been something I've heard in
definitely.
our interviews so far today. How do you handle multiple offers for your seller when they're coming in?
Yeah, we try to create a funnel, in fact, to create multiple offers for our seller with the
Okay.
way that we market our homes. So,
Mhm.
multiple offers, I cannot guarantee them, but it is a very, very frequent occurrence, especially when the inventory is so low, the
Yeah.
market's hot, and we market the home well and stage the home well. And so we put it all in a spreadsheet. We put in the name of the agent, the price, the due
Mhm.
diligence amount, when they close, what type of financing they have, whether it's cash,
Mhm.
if there's anything special like a rent back. And we really
Mhm.
try to look at the needs of the seller. A seller may not
Okay.
always take the highest price. They may want to
Mm.
stay in the home an extra month after they close to give them
Ah,
time to move.
got
So
it.
it depends on the seller's goals as much as
Okay.
anything.
All right, I got 2 more questions around,
Sure.
for sellers, and here's one that, I get a little pushback every time I try to ask this
All
question,
right.
and this is, what is the average commission rate for real
Sure.
estate agents? How does it work? I mean, people
Yeah.
go like, "Do I have to pay someone to buy or sell my house?"
So when you sell your home, generally the seller is tasked with paying not only their listing agent, but then the listing
Mhm.
agent splits their commission with the buyer's agent. And
'Kay.
sometimes it's split 50-50. Sometimes it's weighted depending on
Mhm.
the agent's agreement with the seller.
Yep.
We don't necessarily set a set rate. I could tell you a number. The reason you get pushback is that to protect people, the real estate commission, they really don't want us price setting and they want people to be able to shop
Mhm.
around.
Yep.
So, depending on what the agent does for you, I can say the lowest commission is not always the best value, right?
Mhm.
If someone's taking cell phone photos of your house, they're not
Mhm.
looking, they don't care what it looks like. There's dishes in the sink. I've seen
Yeah.
MLS photos of people in the bed when people take those photos still, right? So, they're not doing their clients any favors just by charging that lower commission. On average, my homes sell for at least 9% over the average sales price. And
Mhm.
so, some agents are worth the money and some are not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. That's a fair answer to that question. All right. Here's the last question. And I know you're not an accountant. You used to be an attorney,
I did.
but it's around capital gains. Do I
Sure.
have to pay capital gains when I sell my house? What is the scenario where they would have to pay capital gains or not pay capital gains?
Yeah, so there are a couple scenarios either way. So if
Hmm.
you have owned your home for less than 2 years and you've made over a certain amount of profit on the home,
Hmm.
let's say you bought it in this very tough market in the last two
Hmm.
years where you've just made a ton of money, you may
Hmm.
be faced with capital gains. If you've owned it for longer than 2 years and it appreciated less than $250,000, you're probably not going to pay
Hmm.
capital gains. There's also a situation where if it's an investment property, you can actually do something called a 1031 exchange and roll a tax scenario over into the next house and keep buying bigger and bigger investment properties and not have to pay some taxes on that. So
Okay.
you've got options. But again, I would point you to your lender partners and to our
Okay.
tax professionals. Absolutely.
Okay, so you touched on a question. I'll go down that rabbit hole with you, and
Sure.
that is 1031 exchanges.
Sure.
There's some very important dates around 1031 exchanges. Why don't you cover that for our
Yeah,
listeners
I
today?
can cover it just a little bit. We have a lot of investors who come into this
Mhm.
area because they've heard that this is a great area to
Yep.
invest. And so when you have a 1031 exchange property, you have to identify the next property that you're going to roll that money into within 45
Mhm.
days. And so we kind of have to be ready if we're going to go ahead
Mhm.
and do that with a property.
Mhm.
Don't think you can sell it, take the money, and then go find, like that
Mhm.
money has to be in a holding company. It's a
Yeah.
little bit complicated. If you're going to do it, you want to do it correctly.
Okay.
But if that's something that someone is interested in doing that, we can definitely lead them through that process.
Okay. And when do they need to have they basically got to find a property within
Yeah.
45 days.
And then they have
When
6
when then you have 6 months to close
Yeah.
on, right?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, that wraps up the questions around selling home. I just got 2 more questions to wrap up the interview, and here we go. And, why should someone work with you versus
Sure.
all the other real estate agents in the Chapel Hill market?
Sure. There's a right fit for everybody, but for
Mhm.
me, I have quite a bit of experience, not just in years, but I'm a full-time realtor. We sell about a house a week, either on the buy side or the sell side, and I
Okay.
represent buyers and sellers equally. So from
Mhm.
the seller standpoint, I know what buyers are looking for. And from
Okay.
buyer standpoint, I'm in contact with so many sellers. And
Okay.
then for the seller's standpoint, we're also staging that home, making it look beautiful, really putting so
Mhm.
much care into getting that home ready that they can't help but sell quickly and for a good
Mhm.
amount of money.
Okay. That's probably one of the best answers I've ever gotten for this question. Okay. So how can someone who's either buying or selling a home get in touch with you?
There are lots of ways. They can go to my website at
Yep.
innashapiro.com, and
Yep.
they can call my cell phone number at 919-619-4283. They can
Okay.
contact me through Keller Williams United. I'm all over the Instagram me. I'm everywhere. Facebook
Okay.
message me. Yeah.
Inna, thank you very much for being on the show. Folks, until the next time, make it a great day.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
You have been listening to the Local Real Estate Show. If you are a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, or a closing company and would like to be a guest on an upcoming show, please visit thelocalrealestateshow.com for more information. Thanks for listening.